Hey guys, welcome back to Sports and Ish with Misty V and Rachael Leigh, episode 2. Hi. We are excited to have you guys listening in. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, getting to know both of us. We've got some episodes coming up as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Misty, how are you doing, girlfriend?
I'm holding up. We're in the middle. We're still in the middle of preseason, but I'm alive. So it's good. We're good. How about you? How are you holding up over there?
Yeah, same. Had our first preseason game where we got to see each other just a little bit. So that was so fun.
I know. My son has like a major crush on you. So he was like, is she coming over to record at our house tonight? And I said, no. So he's like, I know she's a cheerleader, Mom. I know.
Oh my gosh. So cute. Love my fans.
He's an 18-year-old and in love with Rachael.
Oh, well, I'm sure I'll see him soon, but yeah, preseason was a lot of fun. First game out of the way. Got to see Misty in the stands cheering us on, but it's just the beginning, so it'll be exciting to see what happens later on in the season. So how has it been with work and stuff? Have you been like crazy busy working on all the guys and everything?
You know what? So first of all, I just want to say I have been on this whole clean eating kick and like pushing the water and just doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And then yesterday hit, and again, preseason was rolling, everything was smooth, but then yesterday hit and my phone was blowing up. I'm getting messages from agents. I'm getting messages from a coach like, can you get this guy in? Can you get this guy in? And thank God I have a mentee because I literally had to shovel some of the work onto her. Our office was insane yesterday. And by the time I crawled out of there, like 12 something hours later, I'm like, I don't want fish. I'm gonna make a
right. I want the juicy burger and fries. Like I want the good stuff.
Big bowl of linguine and just covered it in Parmesan. And I'm like, I don't care. I had fresh tomatoes, sliced them up, put them on the side. I'm Italian. You're Italian, and that's what happens.
That's what we do, right?
We're hungry. Forget everything. We're going for the pasta. I don't care.
Carbs. All about the carbs. All about the pasta and the wine. I hope you had a glass of wine.
Every day.
There we go. I love that. Okay, wait. What's your go-to with wine? Red, white?
So I am an organic girl. Give me the organic stuff because I find that when I drink regular wine, you get those headaches. You don't feel so good. Even if you only have 2 glasses, like you feel awful. So I go with organic. All right. And I don't even know if I should say the brand, but it is Fitvine. It's actually
I like me some Fitvine. Okay.
I'm telling you, it's low in sugar and low in sulfates. And I don't feel like crap. I don't get that stuffy nose when I drink it. I don't get a headache. I don't feel bad. Like I can get up in the morning and like kill a CrossFit workout and a 3-mile run. And I don't feel like I had a glass of wine the night before. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, Fitvine is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a typical I like to do more of the international wines. So I get like the Italian wines. Those are typically my go-to. Maybe some from France or I don't know. So it's usually European-ish international wines. Just because. So this is what I heard. Fun fact. And I'm not sure, I feel like it's true, that they don't have as much sulfates and all the preservatives and extra stuff that we do here because we mass produce all of those. Typically, obviously, you see them in California and all that stuff. So that's what I heard. So I like to stick to my red wine from Italy. That's usually my go-to. Some Spanish wine maybe as well, but I'm a wino. I love wine.
Unless you're in Florida with me on vacation. You already know. You know what we do. It's whatever Publix has, whatever's on sale at Publix, that's what we're drinking over in Florida.
Absolutely. I also love me a good marg,
Yeah, you remember last year's birthday, you turned me on to those Skinny Girl margaritas. We got We had two at the restaurant and we left. It's like, I don't day drink, but Rachel was like, let's get some margaritas. It's your birthday.
Absolutely.
They good. And like two were gone. And I remember getting up to leave and I'm like, why is the sun so bright? It's so You're like, we need to walk it off. Let's just walk. We gotta walk.
Just chug some water, right before you go to bed is like the mood.
Walk it off.
Yes. It was fun. But yeah, no, but you got to have a good time for your birthday,
Always, every year. It's what every year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Rachel, what I want to talk about, because this is episode 2, and I think we kind of touched upon it on episode 1, but I want to share with everybody who's new with us, because my friends may not know who you are, your friends may not know who I am. And I just feel like if we get into a little bit more meat on who we are, and especially for people that don't know us at all, because I hope the people that have never heard of you and I, and then they can listen to.
How have they not heard of you? Come on, Misty.
Right? Like, hi, I'm Misty V. And that's
no, yeah.
Like, you don't know.
I think a lot of people don't know our backgrounds because I think for the most part, you and I are very not necessarily private about it, because if anybody asks me about anything, I'm always open to talking. It's just, I don't put my stuff out there. You don't put yourself, out there as much. So yeah, I feel like not a lot of people know us. So that's kind of why we're doing this, right?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, if we can get everybody into understanding where you come from and where I come from, I want to go ahead and start with you. And I want you to share with everybody where you come from, who you are. I want to hear about your favorite sports growing up. I want to know who inspired you as a young athlete. Talk to me. I want to hear all about Rachel and her favorite sports.
So rewind all the way to the beginning. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, actually born in Orchard Park. So that's where I grew up. So not right now, I'm in Cincinnati. I've been here for a long time, but my hometown is Orchard Park, where my family still is. I go visit a bunch. It's known for the origination of buffalo wings, which, oh my God. Yes, Anchor Bar. If you're ever in Buffalo, you have to go check it out. There's like every year it's between Anchor Bar and Duff's, which place has the best wings. There's wings everywhere in Buffalo. They're amazing. The pizza is completely different. The food there, I absolutely love. Like, that's one thing when I go home, I'm like, give me some Buffalo food. But yeah, the wings originated there, Anchor Bar. It's a really fun place. You got to check it out. When you're there, there's like just a bunch of crazy stuff on the walls, and it's really, really cool. So if you ever go through there, you have to go to Anchor Bar. And so, yeah, so it's known for the food. It's known for obviously Bill's Mafia, which I talked about last time too. The sports, and then sports, food, nightlife, and also just really, really cold. Like growing up, obviously as a kid, you're like, yes, I love snow days. Which we honestly didn't really have that much of, but we had a lot of snow.
I was going to say, wait a minute, East Coast, weren't you guys famous for like Northeasterners, or is that just like a Boston thing?
We don't really have that like Boston, Long Island accent in Buffalo, but I had told
I meant like the snow, like the cotton.
Oh, heck yes.
Because you guys would like we get like 2 inches here, the world shuts down, but like over on the East Coast, they get like 1.5 feet, and they're like,
we get so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get so much. I mean, we would open the door, and as a kid, it would be like the height that I was. The snow would be piled up. It was crazy. But yeah, we're right on Lake Erie, so we get a bunch of that lake effect snow. Oh, yeah. So it gets crazy. There's a lot of storms, blizzards, all of that fun stuff growing up. So, yeah, it was fun when I was a kid and I didn't have to worry about that stuff. But nowadays I'm all about like sunshine, beach, mountains, all that getting away from the snow a little bit. I still like to visit. I go home for holidays and all that stuff. But yeah, so that's what kind of Buffalo is known for. And grew up there my whole life. And then when I decided to go to college, I was kind of thinking of what I wanted to do. So growing up, I did a little bit of dancing when I was little because my older sister, she was a dancer. And so myself and my younger sister, we just kind of tagged along and started doing a little bit of dancing, which kind of goes into my cheer side of things. But we did that for a couple of years. And then my dad wanted a boy and he's got 3 girls, right? So what does he do?
My poor dad wants a boy. I'm kidding.
So what he did when I was younger, he threw me in every single sport possible, like everything. But I actually loved soccer. That was the sport that I don't know what drew me to it when I was younger, but one of my friends was playing and she's like, hey, do you want to come join my team? As I think I was in 3rd grade or 2nd grade or something like that when I started. So that happened. And then ever since then, I just kind of played throughout, elementary school, middle school, high school, and I did all the traveling and all that stuff. And my dad went with me to all of those things, which it was a lot, but it was so much fun. And I played other sports as well. I did soccer and then I ran track. I played lacrosse. I loved sports. I loved being active. I loved being competitive. Like winning's definitely not the end all be all, but I mean, you can win, why not, right?
I remember I think it was one of my safeties years ago. He knew I was running a marathon on a weekend. He was like, listen, good luck this weekend running your marathon. And remember what Ricky Bobby's dad told him, if you're not first, you're last. So
I like it.
Yeah, we all want to win, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of competitive, just a little bit.
So, that's what I love about you, though.
Yes. You gotta be a little bit, right?
Please.
So yeah, that was my thing, soccer. And I grew up, Mia Hamm, I had her jersey. It was like one of the coolest gifts I got for Christmas from my grandma. Yeah. And then actually, so I went to Ohio State. I was kind of figuring out if I wanted to play soccer in college or what I wanted to do. And I was like, you know what? I know that I am not going to be the next Mia Hamm. And honestly, when it came down to it, I was like, okay, I need to figure out long-term what I'm going to be doing. And I need to focus on school and all that fun stuff, being a responsible kind of adult. So I was thinking about my career and that aspect. And I was like, all right, I don't want to move or go to college an hour away because my family would follow me every single day. But literally my dad would be there every weekend if I was an hour away.
That you're not home every weekend because you're only an hour away.
True. So I was like, okay, I started visiting a bunch of different colleges and I knew I didn't want to be too far away from my family because I am a big family person. So I was like, I think I'm going to get homesick if I'm like halfway across the state. So I'm like, I need to be kind of in the middle where like my family can't visit me and all the time, just here and there, but I can get home for holidays. So I ended up, which I never thought, Ohio, from Buffalo, New York. I was like, I went to an Ohio State. I went to Ohio State for the weekend, did a little tour of the business school because I knew I wanted to get into the business school. And I went to a Ohio State football game and
that's all it takes.
Misty, that was it. I was sold.
You go to a Buckeye game, you're like, this is my home.
I was like, this is awesome. Well, like done. End of story. But it was, I mean, I looked at other colleges as well, but it's a 5 hour drive from Buffalo. I knew I wanted to get into the business school. So I, decided to go to Ohio State, and my family came and visited me here and there, but not too much. And then after Ohio State, I decided to and did an internship in Cincinnati, decided to move to Cincinnati. I didn't know anybody. Like I knew people from my internship for work and all that fun stuff, but I did not know anybody when I moved to Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, for anybody that's lived or is from Cincinnati, it is very like cliquey-ish type of city as far as like
for a small city. Yes. Like what? Right.
So they ask you like, hey, what school did you go to? And this is the joke. Everybody says it that's here, but they're like, what school did you go to? And I'm like, oh, Ohio State. Like, no big deal. Like, where'd you go? They're like, no. What high school did you go to? Like,
oh, all of our infamous schools here.
I was like, well, I don't think you would know what high school I went to, but a lot of people know Ohio State from it being so an hour and a half away. So it was fine. It's just funny to see that is like the thing in Cincinnati. So yeah, so I did an internship, and I worked for a bank as my first job, and I worked in wealth management. And the reason I kind of got into that was because growing up, my family had a small business, and I kind of got to see like the ins and outs and like super interested in all of that stuff. And also just like, you and I talk about this all the time, like being independent, being able to, financially and being able to financially support yourself and just make your own decisions and continue to grow your career and all of that stuff. So when I was thinking, back when you're 16, 17, 18, trying to decide, and they're telling you, oh, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, exactly what you want to do, and like what's going to make you happy and all that stuff. I'm like,
100%.
I have no idea. But I knew that I really enjoyed math. I really, I know, right? Why do you why numbers are just my thing. I remember numbers. I loved algebra growing up. Why? I don't know, but I just like it clicked in my head, like the numbers, all that stuff. Remembering, like, I'm trying to think of like the worst. What was your worst subject that you hated growing up?
No.
So we need friends growing up, because I would have helped you. You probably would have helped me, right?
I was literature. I was writing. I could read. I could write for days. Like I could write novels for people, but math, no, never.
See, I feel like I love writing and all that stuff now, and just like, working on yourself and just journaling and doing whatever. But I feel like when I was younger, I dreaded writing. Like they're like, you need to write an 8-page paper, and I'm like, oh my god, no, I don't have the time for this. I want to go out and play.
I felt like though growing up that students who were great in math and loved math usually weren't great in English, and it was vice versa. It was never you were never usually
me and you, girl.
As a kid, you were never ever great at both. You were, and it shows on your ACTs and your SATs, because again, you score in English or literature, you'd be like, oh, I am amazing, and then you see math and be like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. What did I do?
Yep. So again, we needed to know each other sooner.
Of course.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, that's that. So math was my thing when I was, it still is, obviously, but that's kind of why I was like, okay, I need to get into personal finances and learning about all this stuff and how to handle your money. You'd think that they would provide that to, as a high school course or something like that. But yeah. I'm like, right? I'm like, so I need to know this for myself. I can help my family. I can help other people kind of think through that. And, like I mentioned with a family business, kind of seeing that side of things and being able to help plan other people in that same situation. I was like, this is great. Like, this is a perfect personal, personal interest, as well as I can make a career out of this. So sure. I did that. I did the internship. I loved it. And then I got hired on afterwards and moved to Cincinnati. And like I said, I didn't know anybody. So I was like, how the heck am I going to make friends? Like, how do you make friends? And then with that, so with my job, right when I moved, I had to do all these licenses and get through all of that before, like right after college. So what I ended up doing is I started my job, but then I had to study. So I wasn't able to meet a ton of people. So that's kind of where the cheerleading came about. I actually knew of some girls that I went to high school with, and there were the Buffalo Jills, and they were the cheerleading team of the Buffalo Bills. They no longer have a cheerleading team anymore, but at that time I knew a couple girls that ended up, they either were on the team or in the past, or they were currently at that time. And I was like, oh my gosh, how cool. Like I'm a music person as well. I love music. I love to dance. Like, I'm that girl at the grocery store that's like jamming out to, if there's something like in my headphones or something that's playing and I like it, like I'll just jam out. Oh my gosh. So like music, I love music. So I was thinking about it and I was like, well, if these girls, if I know them and they were able to do cheerleading for the Buffalo Jills, why don't I just try out for the Bengals? Like, why not? I'd meet girlfriends. It'd be a lot of fun. I have a little bit of dance background. I did cheer a little bit as well for 2 years in high school during basketball season. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's probably not that difficult, not that time consuming.
Biggest lie you told yourself.
Biggest lie.
This will take no time.
Oh my gosh. It is so much more, but so rewarding and so worth it. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, no big deal. I'll just try out. Yeah, there's a whole process. By the way, the tryout process, there's like 3 cuts. It's like a long tryout process and a lot of hard work that goes into it behind the scenes with the girls, learning all the dances and everything like that. Plus then preseason, during the season, oh my God, it's crazy. We won't get into all of that now, but there's a lot. So that's kind of like how I got into cheerleading and Cincinnati and all of that. And I mean, I've been doing it for 5 seasons on and off, due to, work, and things like that I've had to kind of step aside. And then I've loved it so much that I keep coming back. It's a lot of fun.
Last year and then
right. But honestly, I mean, I've been to Mexico a bunch with cheerleading. I was able to go to London for our game that we were there a couple of years ago, which was so awesome. And then the Super Bowl, which, I mean, heck yes, we're going to go again this year, right? So,
knock on wood.
Got it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and just this whole journey of getting to Cincinnati and being able to meet you and all of that. It's been amazing. It's truly a blessing. So I'm happy to be in Cincinnati. Never thought I would be here. Honestly, never thought I'd be in Ohio.
I'm glad that you are.
We're here.
I'm glad that you are.
So,
love it.
Okay. Now let's rewind and let's talk about you. So tell me your background and all that fun stuff.
Oh man. Well, I'm a little bit older than you, so mine would take a lot longer than yours. So I'm going to cut mine down.
Yeah, shorten it down, please.
So born in Texas, but my family's not from Texas. My dad was down there for a job. All of my siblings were born in Ohio, except for me. My dad took a job. I'm the youngest of 5. So bam, I was born in Texas. Everybody was like, why were there Italians in Texas? What?
Okay, but where in Texas?
Galveston, Texas. So I grew up basically on Surfside Beach, growing up thinking that that's what beaches and oceans like. With, as I actually saw a real beach with like white sand and blue water, I'm like, wait a minute, we got gypped in Texas. This was not okay.
You're like, there's something wrong with this, but at least you didn't know, and so you got to enjoy that, right?
No, it was like the best day ever. So then we came to Ohio because Dad, he worked for the state of Texas. He ended up taking a job back here, actually in Ohio, at a trucking company. Like he was going to go on the road a lot, and we're like, okay. So we come back to Ohio, and I've never experienced snow or cold weather. So we get here in the and there's snow, and my mother's all concerned because we don't have like pants. We don't have coats. We don't have stuff to cover our ears. So I remember like mom had us enrolled in school in like no time. And I remember like we had nothing to like keep us warm from like the elements. And we were like, all the kids were staring at us like, what's wrong with those kids? Like they are not dressed properly. We're from Texas. We don't know what's going on.
No. Yeah.
As a kid, like I will never forget the smell of like my uncle's coal burning stove in the living room. Like it was just like, again, coming from Texas, like we didn't even have a need for like heat. So it was like, oh, why do you people put this in like a burner? It just goes all night. Like then we were introduced to chores to go out and get the coal. So now we're like out at 5 a.m. before school, like loading up these buckets of coal to like heat the house. I'm like, this is like the nightmare of my.
You're like, get me out of here. Get me out of here.
It's actually happening. So anyways, fast forward. Again, I was just a kid. Growing up, I would say that I come from a very large family, and like my dad had like 14 siblings.
Stop. 14?
Like I have so many first cousins, it's ridiculous. And that's just my dad's side. So my mom's side was a little bit smaller, but it's like we had so much family. And
dad's side Italian or mom's side?
Part, like mom's mostly Italian.
Cool.
We came here, and it was like getting introduced to cousins and like more family, and it was like, who are these people? They're like, oh no, we love you. And I'm like, no, wait, we don't know each other like that. What? But anyways, so growing up, we ended up having like the best family reunions and like growing to love your cousins like siblings and becoming very used to Ohio. So anyways, the women in my family, I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, like it was like this whole atmosphere of the women in my family weren't doing a lot of career stuff. The women in my family were happy to raise children, stay home, and just bake pies and share recipes. And nobody in my family was really doing career stuff. But I was always the dreamer. Growing up, it was like, I remember going to a yard sale with my mother, and I saw a business law college textbook. And I'm like 12. And I'm like, I'm going to buy that book. Because I somehow thought, if I purchase this book, I will be so much more than the women in my family because I have a college textbook already. So it was like, that's how I grew up. But so anyways, fast forward, I graduate high school. I find a way to get through college. Actually, I have a 2-year degree in broadcasting because I loved radio growing up. So growing up, if you were a radio DJ, you were popular, you were famous, you were somebody, back when radio was like all the rage. And I remember thinking like, I'm going to be a radio DJ. So of course I ended up getting a 2-year degree in broadcasting until I found out what broadcasters actually make.
That was like the work that you have to put in, I'm sure, and the time and all of that.
All of it. Like the people who were selling the advertising space were pulling in and like Cadillacs and all the expensive cars. And like radio DJs were like pulling into like the beaters that were barely put together by glue. Like, I remember thinking like, so maybe that's not the career I want. Maybe I should just go back to the drawing board. So I ended up going back and working towards a marketing degree, which is where I landed. I did marketing for so many years. And I think as you start to see in the professional world, so many people start to hit happy hours, and they're doing all these things to like get away with the stress that they're dealing with in corporate America every day. And I remember thinking like, I can't just drink every day. So I started running. I'll rewind a little bit. By the way, growing up, my favorite sports was tennis. And I just want to say,
oh, yes.
I say the name Andre Agassi. Any woman my age is going to be like, yes. Andre Agassi. I'm going to say it one more time. But anyways, so I became a runner, and then I ran 2 miles and then 5 miles and then 10 miles. And before I knew it, I was running distance runs and distance marathons. And when I say distance, you're talking more than the usual marathon pace. Now you're talking that you're doing like 30-mile races, and you're doing like 45-mile races. And I'm like, yeah, this feels good. Like I'm charged.
Oh my gosh.
Stress from corporate America and what nothing matters now. And I'm not drinking every day like those people. I'm out running distance. And then all of a sudden I ended up very, very injured.
Yeah.
I ended up doing 2 years in and out of PT and seeing my ortho, and they did all these tests. They're like, we can't figure out why, like, just maybe you shouldn't run anymore. And I remember looking at this guy, and I wasn't trying to be judgmental, but I'm looking at a staunchy guy, and he's a little bit thick and clearly not athletic. And I asked him, I said, have you ever felt what a runner's high feels like ever in your life? Have you ever just somehow ended up at mile 8 and you pick up this euphoria, and all of a sudden you land somewhere at mile 18 and you don't even know what happened, but you're so happy and that space is clear for you. And all of a sudden you've completed what 10 hours of sleep couldn't possibly do. Like you were on cloud 9. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. So I left his office depleted, ready to cry. Like I have no answers. I can't run distance. I can't run anymore. He's basically telling me this is the end. So a very good co-worker of mine, she said, all right, I have a suggestion. There's this person I've been using and seeing, and she's amazing. She's actually a precision neuromuscular therapist. Now she doesn't accept health insurance. She's self-paid, but Misty, she's kept me going for so long, and she is so easy to work with. Just tell her your story. And I said, you know what? 2 years of PT, I'm going to try anything. I've done chiropractic.
Right? Give me anything.
Give me anything. So I call this woman, get into her. 90 minutes with her, it was hell. Like this appointment was painful, and I'm just
much needed.
All of my clients right now who are watching this are like, you deserve this.
Yep.
But it was a painful 90 minutes.
Me.
It was a painful 90 minutes. I was twitching all over this woman's table, and she said, now do me a favor. You're not to run this week. I want to see you again next week. And then when I see you on the next appointment, I want you to try running, but nothing this week. And I said, fair enough. I get off her table and I knew immediately something had changed. My body felt better. Walking to my car, my hips were better. And I thought, maybe I'm just feeling hopeful. This could be the thing. Anyways, go back to her the next week, another 90-minute torture session. I took it better on the second time, much like my clients do. And I took it better on the second appointment. She said, now tomorrow, I want you to run 3 miles and I want to hear how you feel. And I said, you got it. Like, I'll even count my cadence for you. I've got this. So I go out and hit my 3-mile run. My cadence was the best it ever been. I'd never had a cadence so sharp and on point. My hips never felt looser. My feet were landing how they're supposed to. My knees and arms were in sync. I was like, am I just
amazing? Where has this been?
Where has she been for the last 2 years? So in any matter, I made it a point to see her at least every 4 weeks. I continued my distance running. I was back to my usual stuff. And every time I showed up, she was just bright and happy and smiley. And she got to wear whatever she wanted to work. And she had a personalized plate on her Lexus that read pain relief. So I remember one day I said, I'm going to ask you something. What's it like to be you for a day? Because I've been in corporate America for years. And in fact, that's why I run so many miles, to get away from the stress and the people and the conversations. but you're so happy and you're so light. What's it like to be you for a day? And she said, it's not even a job for me, Misty. I come here every day and it doesn't feel like I'm coming to work. And I said, I'm switching careers.
That is it. Done.
And it's done. I literally looked into school, went back to school. I asked if I could do advanced courses. While I'm in school taking advanced courses, I literally applied to PNMT, and I emailed the guy and I said, listen, I'm not medically licensed yet, but I'm on course to do so. My mentor actually studied underneath you, and she's been the one training me as well. Like, can I go ahead and start these courses now? And he said, I'm going to let you in the program. So while I'm in school doing these advanced courses, on the weekends, I'm traveling to Springfield, Missouri. I'm in Champaign, Illinois. I'm going wherever I have to do to get this precision neuromuscular therapy courses knocked out. So by the time that I graduate, I'm certified there. I'm now medically licensed. I applied for a Kentucky licensure, Ohio licensure, eventually licensed in Florida.
Yay.
And I opened my own practice. So then I thought, okay, I don't expect to make the kind of money I made in marketing. Like, I had a career, I was paid by corporate America, there's all this money.
Sure.
I just want to be happy. I don't care if I ever make that kind of money again. I'm going to be happy like my mentor. I'm going to smile every day, and people are going to like coming to me because I'm happy. So the odd thing happens. Within 6 months of being licensed, first of all, I specialize in running. That's a major thing that I do. I actually have the ability to make runners faster through soft tissue manipulation. So I had so many runners in my office nonstop, and then I end up with my first NFL player. He then tells another player about me. That player then tells 3 more about me, and I'm like, holy cow, like, I'm kind of scared that I'm a little bit inexperienced for NFL athletes. Like, I don't want to mess this up. But they were coming to me and they were loving it, and they were like, I felt really good out there. Do whatever it is that you did last week. Like, I feel really good. Do that again. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this again. And then within 8 months, I get a call from our soccer team, our professional soccer team. I got your number from somebody at the Bengals, and we'd like to talk to you about coming in a few days a week. And I'm like, what? Who gave you my name at the Bengals?
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how that all works out? It's like,
who? Like, how you found me through who? So anyways, I ended up meeting the folks with the soccer team. Ended up spending almost 4 seasons with the soccer team. We'll get into all those conversations later. Trust me, we're going to have so many conversations. So many conversations with soccer. But I had an amazing almost 4 seasons with the soccer team. Great learning experience. I also kept my private practice going. So I continued to work with NFL, ended up getting contracted with the Browns anytime that they visited Cincinnati. And now I have close to half the roster of the Bengals. And then now actually I have over half of the roster of the Bengals. But we'll get into all that later. But that's how my career took off. I love sports. I love absolutely everything that I do. And I can honestly say that when I come to my job every day, it doesn't feel like I'm going to work every day. I show up. I'm just as happy as my mentor ever was. I get to see all these people. My biggest thing is that it's a relationship-based business. And
oh my gosh,
I made the career switch. Here I am. So, and I will say, like, DBs are clearly my favorite, but now I have a ton off the offensive line. I've learned a lot about what goes on in their world as well. I got to go to the Super Bowl with the guys as well, because again, I work with over half of the roster. So they were like, we need you. She's got to go. Here. She's a major part of our week. We're bringing her on board.
Yes.
So anyways, that is how I ended up here. I've spent 7 years in professional sports now, and man, we've got some stories.
We've got a lot of stories, but it's so funny. So you mentioned how you wanted to be in broadcasting. When I was younger, I wanted to be like the next singer. Like, I thought like I said, I love music. I was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a singer. Like, really, Rachael? Come on. But, you're young, you're a gamer, all that fun stuff.
You want to be on stage and grab a microphone and, like, entertain. Like,
so, yeah. So, I'm not a singer. I like to think so, singing in the car. Oh my gosh. If you drive by me, I will be jamming out. I am that girl that you look over and you're like,
you're having a car service.
Laughing at. But
I've heard you sing.
If you have not heard me sing and you're my friend, then something's wrong.
Then you're not my
Always
friend.
Then you're not my friend.
We're not close if you didn't hear this.
Oh my God. I know. It's bad. If you haven't heard me sing, me just whip out a dance move here or there, like we're not that close.
I love it.
It's fun.
I love it.
But no, I mean, you inspire me, and I mean, I've been going to you for so long, and I'm so glad that you're happy with what you do, but you're amazing at what you do as well. Like, it's all about word of mouth too. And just when you do a great job for people, other people want to come, and you are busy, girlfriend. So busy, but in a good way, because you're just amazing at what you do. So
you're really sweet. Thank you.
Yes.
I never knew how far I wanted this to go. When I started doing what I did, I didn't know, it's like that thing where you've been climbing a mountain and you don't realize how far high you are until you look down and you're like, how did I get here? I don't know how it all happened. When I got to the top, I thought to myself, how did I get here? I didn't see this coming. Like, I was having so much fun along the way, and I enjoyed every step of the process. I didn't even know how I ever got that high, but I'm glad I did. I'm not mad at all. Like,
right. No.
Time, so.
And sometimes you just don't realize it too. You sit there and you kind of have to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I
just came how far? Like, what just happened?
I came how far, and how far I can keep going. And you just keep pushing through, and you just continue. And it's so awesome to see all of that.
So now, going back to how I grew up, the women in my family now, of course, thanks to Facebook, everybody can see.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Your generation isn't on Instagram, they're on Facebook. And thanks to Facebook, they can see, like, my aunts, uncles, and,
I'm really bad with Facebook.
Cousins. They can see where you're at in life now. They're just like, that's Misty. Look how, like, she's doing this, she's doing that. Because nobody in our family has done anything. They didn't branch out. They're all beautiful people. Like, they're wonderful people. They've raised families and children, but the women,
just different. Yeah,
the women didn't know how to branch out. And I think to see somebody from the family having taken that step into, when I call myself an industry disruptor, from day one, I knew I would only ever do things my way, period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like following somebody else's path or their building plan. When someone shows me what they did, I do want to read about it. I read at least one book a week about any industry disruptor, primarily female, but I read books. I want to know how someone started their business, and I want to know how they saw things differently. And I'm not going to follow their path or their plan because I want to do it my way. It's always going to be my way, but I will still read how someone else accomplished what they did. So when I say I'm an industry disruptor, I remember going to school and, you have all these professionals come in and say, well, this is how you're supposed to do it, and this is how we're going to do it. And I remember thinking, no, there's actually no law that says you have to do it that way. In fact, I think I'm still going to do it my way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a business, and I'm going to show people everywhere, men and women. It doesn't have to be the way that you read it in the book, and it doesn't have to be the way that so-and-so showed you that they were successful at it. It's going to be my way. Yeah. And I don't want you to do it my way when you build your own business and when you become successful. I actually want you to see that you can do it your own way, make it your own product, do it your own vision, period.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. And either you're going to be successful at it or you're not. And if you're not, no, just try it again, try something different. But the point is, when you decide to disrupt everything, you don't want to do what Massage Envy or Hand and Stone is doing. My office is set up completely sports-wise. You will not come into my office and hear relaxing anything. We have TVs on walls. We have ESPN playing. We have sports memorabilia everywhere. In fact, when they come in, I'm like, do you root for the Celtics? I mean, people are getting along great, but the point is that it wasn't built to be like this whole franchise or what everybody else was used to. And if anybody new ever came into my office, I let them know via email or text, like, don't come into my office expecting quiet time. This was actually built for treatments and to fix you for reasons XYZ. And because you're an athlete, that's what I'm focused on. My job here is to put you to sleep. My job here is to let you know what a powerful athlete that you are. And I'm going to show you what you're capable of through my treatments. So anyways, that's what I love to do.
Yes.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here for episode 2. We have so many things coming up, including some incredible guests. So many athletes that I worked with in the past and athletes that Rachel's familiar with. We have some Major League Soccer guys coming up, including my favorite, who actually played for a team in Tijuana for many, many years. So you're not going to want to miss that episode either. I think that will be episode 3 or 4. So basically, I want to remind you guys that we are on YouTube. So find the Sports and Ish with Misty V and Rachael Leigh on YouTube. You want to give that a thumbs up. You want to subscribe. Love everything about us. Give us some ratings. And then you also want to find us we are on Instagram with Sports and Ish, Misty V, Rachael Leigh again. And of course, you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms.
Yes. Go check us out.